Embrace the darkness, Jackie.
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again, introducing you to my Darkness 2 Dawn difficulty video walkthrough. This is Chapter 7 and it is Deal with the Devil. And because this game is very cutscene heavy, very talky heavy, and I've trimmed a bunch of it out, we are now in control of kind of like a dreamy section because we're being tortured and we need to get out of here. And all it means is Jackie's kind of fighting the darkness because he's not sure if he wants to keep it, he doesn't mind letting it go, and they're at odds basically. And you're going to be going up and destroying a bunch of these walls, and then you're going to go back to reality and you're going to be crucified like you were in the demo. And it's that section where you pull out the nail, you slam it in the guy's face, and then you shoot out the light and all that good stuff. So for the most, this level's very easy. You're going to be running through a bunch of fire, but for some reason the fire does not affect your darkness powers, and then you're going to be on a rooftop killing a bunch of guys and getting chased, and that's pretty simple too. So instead I'm going to talk about another film, because I watched this a while ago and I haven't mentioned it, I don't believe, and there's a lot of interesting things to think about with it. So and the film I'm going to talk about is called In Time, with Justin Timberlake and Cillian Murphy. And another cool thing that I find about Justin Timberlake is, aside from how much I hate his music, the guy is a fine actor. And I've said this before, but it's one of those things where he's really proving that he can act. He's doing the Jennifer Lopez thing, only I hate Jennifer Lopez and I thought she's a shit actor, but he's kind of proving that he is talented in a lot of places. A bit like Ricky Gervais, he seems to be mentioned a lot like that. And this film is, I think it's based on a Philip K. Dick short story. Pretty much all science fiction films these days are based on them, because it's just kind of the archetype that they do. But it's a really interesting concept. And what it is imagine a future where as soon as you hit the age of 25, that is the way you will look for the rest of your life, however long that may be. And because you stop aging at that time, what happens is a clock on your arm, which is like a neon timer that's built into your skin, that just displays there like a hood. And it displays how much time you have before your body shuts down, because you don't age, so you don't decay and you don't die. And for some reason in the future, to stop, overcrowding or shit like that, to control the population and to cull the herd, they've made it so that everybody gets a year on their 25th birthday before they die, and everything they do in the world gives them more time or costs time to do things. So, for instance, when they go to work, instead of earning currency, they earn time. That is their currency. And everything they do, from buying groceries to paying taxes to paying on buses, costs a certain amount of time. So in essence, everything you do in your life, you are paying with your life force. And if you're really, really bad at managing your funds, you're potentially killing yourself. But if you're the person who's really good at savings, in a really, really good job, you're pretty much guaranteeing your own immortality. And they've got this whole mechanic of giving people time by doing this really strange thing with your hand when you grab somebody. So as a principle, if you've got good friends or if you've got somebody who's rich, then you're set for life. And if you're generous, you're going to be able to help people. But it also works both ways, because people can steal it from you in this process, and there's all sorts of different concepts getting thrown around. There's the concept of time wrestling, where they have like an arm wrestle where you steal each other's time, and it's completely preposterous, makes no fucking sense, and becomes actually quite a big plot point which I didn't understand. But it's a cool movie to begin with. It goes a kind of crazy direction, because to give you a brief synopsis, Justin Timberlake has about 18 hours left on his clock, because he's always living day to day, doing scummy jobs, trying everything he can to get by. And he's in this pub where there's this dude who's proper flouncing his money around. He's got ladies on his arms, he's drunk as hell, and he's got like 136 years on his clock because he's super rich. And in that part of the world, in that neck of the woods type of thing, in that neighbourhood, you do not want to flounce stuff like that, because people will kill you for a day, let alone 136 years. So the dude from Beastly, who's also in I Am Number 4, that kind of looks a bit like a Dolph Lundgren, but his face doesn't look as much like it's been smacked with a cricket bat, he's this kind of local gangster that controls the precinct that Justin Timberlake lives in. And he comes along, and because they know him as this big like mafia boss guy, he's gonna steal all that time off that dude, and that dude gets himself in a real shit situation. And if he resists, they'll kill him. And either way, they're gonna steal his time. So Justin Timberlake, being kind, you know, like the good guy, decides to try and help the dude escape, and he causes a distraction, and he helps him get away from them. And they have this pretty interesting conversation about time, and it turns out that this guy who's super rich has lived for over 1,000 years. Oh, by the way, on this section here, do not turn around when you jump. Carry on running, you will take no damage. What I was doing is I was checking for collectibles and I got caught, and you'll notice I now have no life. So to avoid that, keep on sprinting, do not stop. My bad. But this guy, anyhow, has lived for 1,000 years, and he's got to the point where he's fed up with life. He doesn't want to live forever, he's tired. And in this really materialistic future of you know, these rich folk that have got too much time and these poor people that are dying in the streets, people can't understand anybody wanting to not live forever, because it's like, you know, completely consumed them. So the predictable thing happens where they both fall asleep, and I just spat there with my pee for some reason. It was a full-on plosive explosion. But Justin Timberlake wakes up, and the dude has given him every single bit of his time except for like 3 minutes. And he looks out of the window, and the guy sat on this bridge, and the guy face plants as he dies and falls off this bridge. So Justin Timberlake, the guy who has only ever had like 18 hours worth of time at any one given moment, now has 136 years worth of time to do what he wants with it. And his mother is really low on time, and she's actually about to die. So she's been kind of planning to come see him later on in that day, and she misses her bus because she doesn't have enough time to pay for the bus because it's gone up. Everything's inflated, people are dying more, and all this good stuff. And I hit my first paradox there, because there's a lot of things that confuse me in this because I kind of overthought it. But it costs, for instance, 2 hours to ride a bus, and the bus itself takes half an hour to get to your destination. To walk that same length of distance is, you know, a 2-hour walk. So you're paying 2 hours to do something that takes 2 hours. And I was just kind of like, what the fuck is the point in that? Why would people use transport? Why would they not like invent some super machine to get people places really quickly? And then it kind of made me fall off that tangent to think like, why does anybody sleep? You'd be terrified to sleep because you'd be potentially wasting your life, quite literally, because your time's running down and you're too busy chuffing sleeping. So it's like, people wouldn't sleep, you'd be getting all sleep deprived, and everybody would be really antsy and really crazy and hallucinating and shit. And I just completely overthought it, and I went, hang on a second here, Chris, it's got Justin Timberlake in it, it's probably pretty fucking dumb, and I should probably sit down and carry on enjoying it. So there's this really touching scene where Olivia Wilde, who plays Justin Timberlake's 25-year-old mum, and I've got to say the future's pretty confusing, people, because if that was my mum, totally would be in a situation where I would want to fuck my own mum, and that's as sick as it sounds. But he's running for her because he sees her and he's got all this time that he can give her to keep her alive. She's got like 30 seconds left, and spoiler alert, she dies in his arms. And it kind of triggers this change in his mood, where good old Justin decides to go to the richest place in the world and like bring it all down type of thing. And that's where it kind of falls apart, because it goes into this whole like I don't really know what you would call it, but I didn't really enjoy it. It's like Bonnie and Clyde, where they're robbing time banks, and they do the whole Robin Hood giving it to the poor and all sorts of crazy stuff, and it's just not the direction I expected, especially when he goes to like the poshest casino in the poshest place in the city and ends up winning like 1,000 days, which I thought was awesome, and I thought it was going to go, you know, like really crazy and really cool, and it just doesn't. But thanks for watching, guys, and you take care now.